The Sinclair estate was bathed in the golden glow of the late afternoon sun, casting long shadows across the polished marble floors. Eleanor Sinclair sat in her study, her fingers tracing the edges of an old photograph. It was of her husband, Richard, taken years ago at a company gala. His blue eyes sparkled with life, and his strong hands rested on her shoulders as if to say, "I will always protect you." But he wasn't here anymore. 3 years had passed since the tragic plane crash that took him away, yet the emptiness in Eleanor's heart had never lessened. A gentle knock on the door pulled her from her thoughts. "Come in," she called. Martha, her closest friend and longtime housekeeper, entered, carrying a tray of tea. She set it down and gave Eleanor a knowing look. "You've been quiet all day. What's on your mind?" Eleanor let out a long sigh. "Alexander." Martha poured the tea. "He's doing well in London, isn't he? Managing the company beautifully." Eleanor nodded. "Yes, but that's not what worries me." She turned to Martha, her voice soft but firm. "I built this company with Richard. We started with nothing and made it into something powerful. But wealth comes with a price, and my greatest fear is that Alexander will marry a woman who only sees his money and not the man he is." Martha stirred her tea, watching Eleanor closely. "You can't control his heart." "But I can protect it," Eleanor countered. "I need to know that whoever he chooses will love him for the right reasons." Martha's eyes twinkled with curiosity. "And how do you plan to do that?" Eleanor set the photograph down with quiet determination. "By going undercover. If I pretend to be one of the lowest-ranking employees in my own company, I'll see the truth. I'll find out who has a genuine heart and who is only after status and wealth." Martha's mouth fell open. "You want to work as a cleaner?" "Yes," Eleanor said simply. Martha shook her head in disbelief. "This is madness." "No," Eleanor murmured. "This is necessary." Eleanor met with Thomas, her assistant, the following morning in the Sinclair Enterprises headquarters. Thomas, always impeccably dressed, adjusted his tie as he scanned the documents in his hand. "You want me to register you as a cleaner under a false identity?" Eleanor sipped her coffee. "Precisely." Thomas sighed, setting the papers down. "You do realize how absurd this is, don't you? You're one of the most powerful women in the country." "Exactly why I need to do this," Eleanor countered. "I have lived in a world where people treat me with respect because of my wealth. But I want to see how they treat someone they consider beneath them." Thomas hesitated, then nodded. "I'll make the arrangements." "When does this experiment begin?" "Tomorrow morning." He let out a low whistle. "This is going to be interesting." Eleanor smiled. "Yes. Yes, it is." Eleanor's first day as a cleaner was unlike anything she had ever experienced. Gone were the elegant dresses, the diamond necklaces, and the aura of wealth. She now wore a faded uniform, her silver hair tucked under a simple scarf. When she walked into the towering Sinclair Enterprises building, no one turned to greet her. No one whispered her name with admiration. She was invisible. At the front desk, a young woman barely glanced up from her phone. "You're the new cleaner, right? Supplies are in the closet down the hall. Just don't be in anyone's way." Eleanor gave a small nod. "Understood." As she walked to the janitor's closet, she overheard 2 employees whispering. "Did you see the new cleaner? She looks ancient. Ugh, why do old people even take these jobs?" Eleanor's stomach tightened. It had been years since anyone spoke about her with such blatant disregard. And this was only the beginning. Eleanor had barely started mopping the brick room floor when a loud voice cut through the air. "Oh no! I spilled my drink." Eleanor turned in time to see a cup of coffee splash onto the freshly cleaned floor. Sophia, a senior employee with sharp eyes and an arrogant smile, stood there, her lips curved in amusement. "My hand must have slipped," she said mockingly. Her friend snickered. Eleanor clenched her jaw, bending down to clean the mess. Then, another voice rang out, soft but firm. "That was unnecessary, Sophia." Eleanor looked up to see a young woman with warm brown eyes and auburn curls standing with her arms crossed. Sophia scoffed. "Oh, please, Olivia. Are you really defending a cleaner?" "Yes," Olivia said, stepping forward. "Because she's a person. And you're being awful." For a moment, there was silence. Then Sophia rolled her eyes. "Whatever." She turned and strutted away, her heels clicking against the floor. Eleanor looked at Olivia. Their eyes met. And something in Eleanor's heart softened. Later that afternoon, Eleanor sat in the janitor's closet, eating a simple sandwich. A gentle knock on the door startled her. "Mrs. Eleanor." Olivia peeked inside. Eleanor blinked in surprise. "Yes, dear." Olivia hesitated, then stepped in. "Are you okay? I saw what happened earlier with Sophia." Eleanor studied the young woman. There was no pity in her eyes, just genuine concern. "I'm fine, dear," Eleanor said softly. "Thank you for asking." Olivia sat down beside her on a stack of boxes. "People can be cruel. But that doesn't mean you deserve it." Eleanor felt something stir inside her, a feeling she hadn't known in years. Hope. Over the next few weeks, Eleanor watched Olivia closely. She saw how she stayed late to finish work others ignored. How she never complained. How she treated the security guards, the janitors, and even the interns with the same kindness she showed the CEO. Meanwhile, Sophia's cruelty escalated. She knocked over trash bins deliberately. She whispered snide comments when Eleanor passed. And every time, Olivia was the only one who defended her. Eleanor had seen enough. She had found the right woman for her son. But now, she needed Alexander to return. After years in London, Alexander Sinclair finally returned home. And he was about to meet the woman who had unknowingly stolen his mother's heart. The private jet touched down at Sinclair Estate's private airstrip, its sleek frame glinting under the afternoon sun. Alexander Sinclair stepped out, adjusting the cuffs of his tailored suit. The London years had refined him, his posture more composed, his expression unreadable. But deep inside, he was still the same man who had once built sandcastles with his mother in their backyard. A convoy of black SUVs awaited him, but he ignored them. Instead, his sharp gaze scanned the familiar surroundings until he spotted the woman he had longed to see. "Eleanor," he murmured. His mother stood a few feet away, still in her cleaner's uniform. But even in the modest attire, her presence was regal. "Welcome home, my son," Eleanor said, smiling. Alexander took long strides toward her, embracing her tightly. "Mother, what is all this? Thomas told me you've been working as a cleaner." Eleanor chuckled. "You have questions, and I promise you answers. But for now, just trust me." Alexander sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "You've always been one step ahead of me." Eleanor patted his cheek. And I always will be, my dear. She glanced back at the towering Sinclair Enterprises building. Now, let's get to work. There's someone I want you to meet. Alexander walked through the company hallways, taking in the environment he had only seen in reports. Employees whispered as he passed, their admiration barely concealed. But his eyes weren't searching for their approval. He was searching for the woman his mother had spoken of. And then, he saw her. Olivia. She wasn't like the other employees, who stiffened at his presence. Instead, she remained focused on her work, diligently reviewing a stack of reports. Alexander's lips quirked into a slight smile. She was calm, unbothered. His mother had chosen wisely. Eleanor, still disguised, nudged him playfully. What do you think? Alexander smirked. I think I'd like to see more. It wasn't long before fate brought them together. Alexander stood near the company lounge, scrolling through his emails, when Olivia entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. She had been tasked with delivering them to senior executives, but one misstep sent a cup tilting. Before she could react, a strong hand reached out, steadying hers. Careful there, Alexander murmured. Olivia gasped slightly, realizing who had just caught her. Oh. I'm so sorry, Mr. Sinclair. Alexander tilted his head, intrigued. You know my name. She hesitated, then gave a small nod. Of course. You're the CEO's son. You own all this. Alexander chuckled. Not yet. But I will soon. Olivia's cheeks warmed. I should go. I have to deliver this. As she turned, Alexander called out, wait. She paused, glancing back. Join me for lunch tomorrow, he said smoothly. I'd like to know more about the people who truly make this company run. Olivia blinked in surprise. I don't think I'm the right person for that. You are, Alexander said firmly. See you at noon. And just like that, he walked away, leaving Olivia standing there, her heart pounding. Eleanor, watching from a distance, smiled. Sophia had noticed the interaction. And she was furious. From the moment Alexander stepped into the company, she had set her sights on him. A Sinclair heir was a golden ticket to a life of luxury, and she had no intention of letting a nobody like Olivia get in her way. She stormed into the restroom, gripping the counter as she seated. Her friend, Amelia, smirked beside her. Looks like Olivia caught his eye. Sophia scoffed. Not for long. She straightened her posture, adjusting her flawless makeup. I remind Alexander why women like Olivia don't belong in our world. Amelia chuckled. And if that doesn't work? Sophia's eyes darkened. Then I make sure she's gone for good. Olivia sat at the private dining room table, fidgeting with her napkin. She still didn't understand why Alexander Sinclair, of all people, wanted to have lunch with her. The door opened, and he entered, exuding quiet confidence. Glad you made it, he said, taking his seat. Olivia offered a small smile. I hope I didn't keep you waiting. Alexander studied her for a moment. No, but I'll admit, I was curious if you'd actually come. Why? Because most people in this company either fear me or try too hard to impress me. Olivia raised a brow. And which one do you think I am? Alexander smirked. Neither. A small laugh escaped Olivia. You don't know that yet. He leaned forward slightly. Then I have to find out, won't I? Sophia knew she needed to act fast. She began spreading subtle rumors about Olivia, whispering in the right ears. I heard she's only nice to cleaners and interns because she wants to look good. I bet she's been planning this for months, waiting for Alexander to return. Soon, people were looking at Olivia differently. And Sophia wasn't done yet. Sophia's plan reached its peak when she planted fake financial reports under Olivia's desk. When the documents were discovered, the company was in an uproar. Olivia was accused of corporate fraud. And just like that, she was suspended. Eleanor had remained silent long enough. As the accusation swelled, she walked into the boardroom, this time, not as a cleaner, but as Eleanor Sinclair, the company's owner. Gasps filled the room. And then, she spoke. Enough, she said, her voice commanding. I know the truth. And it's time the rest of you did too. She revealed the security footage proving Olivia's innocence. Then she turned to Sophia. Your little game is over. Sophia paled. And security escorted her out. That evening, Alexander found Olivia on the company rooftop, staring at the city skyline. Olivia, he called softly. She turned, her eyes full of emotions. You didn't have to defend me. Alexander stepped closer. Yes, I did. She swallowed hard. Why? He reached out, brushing a stray strand of hair behind her ear. Because I care about you. And I don't want to lose you. Olivia's breath hitched. Alexander. Before she could finish, he closed the distance and kissed her. Months passed, and Olivia's reputation was restored. Eleanor, satisfied with her son's choice, welcomed Olivia into their family. And as Alexander knelt before Olivia one evening, ring in hand, he whispered, "Marry me." With tears in her eyes, Olivia smiled. Yes. And so, love triumphed, proving that true wealth was not in money, but in the heart. Please subscribe, like and share for more exciting stories.